what you gotta say, but don't play. Say what you gotta say, but don't play. Say what you gotta say, but don't play.
What is up, you guys? It's your spiritual fairy godmother, and I am back, okay? Except for I'm not back with another read. I am back with a smoke session. In today's smoke session, I am going to be telling Jonathan and I's love story. I've been contemplating on doing this video for a while because I wanted to do this video tastefully. I wanted to do it with respect to Jonathan and with respect to our journey and our love over everything. I want to highlight our love, and I want to tell my story in a way where I can heal and I can purge and I can allow this healing and allow everything that our love has taught me to kind of manifest itself or to be made a reality. Because sometimes when you just think about things, or you only have your perception, or sometimes even when you're submerged in a situation, I feel like sometimes you're not really aware of the lesson. Even if you are, maybe you're not taking it seriously. And where I am now, I feel like I have to take not only myself seriously, but I have to take my journey seriously. And a lot of what me and Jonathan went through together was a part of my journey. So I feel like there are a lot of young women, teenagers, women in the streets, women who are maybe don't have a father, women who, or girls who maybe parents are working a lot and they don't have somebody, or somebody who doesn't have a big sister, or if you don't really have a friend or somebody to vent to or talk to, I want to be that person. That's what my platform is about. That's what it's for. It's for me to be relatable and relate to those who relate to me. And I feel like I went through a lot that I wouldn't want other women, or I wouldn't want my child to go through. And I want to just talk about that. And like I said, I want to do it in a way that's tasteful. So all I'm going to do is tell my story. There is Jonathan's side of the story, but he's not here to tell his side. So, and then there's God's side. There's the truth. So I want to reiterate that. I want to make sure that y'all know that this is only my perspective. It don't have to be y'all's truth. It don't have to be the truth. Like, if y'all know Jonathan and something that I'm saying maybe don't sound right to y'all, that's on y'all. But again, this is my experience. So I want to go ahead and spark up this blunt and get started with when we first met. So if y'all got a blunt, or you got some tea or some coffee or whatever you got while you're watching this video, go ahead and get it ready so we can jump right on in. So I'm gonna tell y'all the whole truth. Maybe not everything, if it's none of y'all business, but I'm gonna tell my whole truth without any shame, without any guilt. And yeah. So we met in 2020 when COVID was just about to happen. Like, we were starting to date when everything pretty much got shut down. So we let me give y'all a background story. So I had just quit my job December. I had been doing my entrepreneurship. I had been able to pay my bills. I had been chilling. I had been doing me with just like doing readings and all that kind of stuff. And I was good. I'm sorry. I had to turn the music down so I didn't feel like I was yelling. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So we met. I was doing my entrepreneur stuff, and I remember he had just came home from prison, and he posted a picture of him at the barbershop. His lips was looking so full and so good. But that wasn't why I wrote him. I had just messaged him like, welcome home, because while he was in prison, he had wrote me and was like, I want you to be my girlfriend, blah, 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 like, give me your address. And I didn't want to give him my address, so I gave him the address to my apartment complex, but I gave him a different number, like a different apartment number. So if he sent anybody my way, like, they wasn't going to come to me, right? Stupid, because, I mean, I still sent them my address, but it was what it was. So whenever he would get a phone in prison or whatever, he would text me or write me on Instagram. So when I saw that he came home, I wrote him and I commented on the picture like, welcome home. So he ended up inboxing me. We ended up exchanging numbers or whatever. We was texting, and it's crazy because so we was talking for a while, and I kept feeling like on my end, like he wasn't texting me back. Like he was taking super long to text back. Like he wouldn't text me back till like the next day or something like that. And he said like, okay, he felt like my conversation was too intellectual. Like he didn't know what to say back, or he had to think of a whole response just to say back to me, right? So that was that. This is gonna be like an hour-long story, probably. I don't know. I'm trying not to talk so much, but yeah. So that happened, and we had been talking for like 2 weeks at this point, off and on. He wasn't really he was giving me conversation, and it was good conversation, but it was taking long to have one conversation. Like we was never saying good night and good morning. It was always we dragging out a conversation. So eventually he had ended up posting something on Instagram at like 3 o'clock in the morning. He had posted that he was out like in the car, and I'm like, it looked like you got time to see me. And he was like, yeah, like what you doing or something. I'm like, I'm making some cookies. I was baking some cookies. I don't know. I was up late. It was what it was. I was high, making some fucking cookies, had the munchies. So he come over, he was like, yeah, I want to come get some cookies, blah blah blah. He come over and we chill. And I remember him trying to like kiss me with his whole mouth, and I'm just like, hold up, like I don't kiss, like, you know, this ain't that. And again, he had just come home from prison, so I was a little reserved about if I wanted to trust him, or mind y'all, I just let this nigga come to my house at like 3 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, so that happened. And it was the summertime, so my baby was at my mama's house, and I think for a couple nights we was able to just kick it. We was able to just chill. And on like the third night of him coming over, it got a little physical. Like it was kind of like, okay, we fooling around, we messing around, whatever. So the next day I pretty much told him like, okay, if you finna be coming over my house every day now, like if you know, we gonna have to be something. You gonna have to ask me to be your girlfriend, like actually ask me. And he was like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. He was like, give me a couple days. I'm like, okay. I respected that. I wasn't, you know, it was what it was. And a couple days later, he came back like, yeah, like, do you want to be my girlfriend? Like, I cut everybody off. He was like, I'm going to be honest. It took a while to cut everybody off. Whatever. And y'all know, I don't have good memory. So I don't know all the details. But yeah, so pretty much that's what happened. So let's fast forward. That was March. Let's fast forward to April. So March, April, I'm paying the bills by myself, even though Jonathan has pretty much moved in at this point. So we start talking in March. By April, he had moved in. I was aware of the fact that he had just got home from prison. So it was like I wasn't pressing him to like pay rent or nothing like that. So April and May, I just took care of rent. Like I was buying him little stuff. I'm like, I want you to have house shoes. I want you to have soap. Like, buying him little shit. And I felt like he wasn't using it. Like I felt like he wasn't being appreciative. So that was the whole thing. But we were so early into the relationship, I didn't express that, or I didn't say nothing about it. I just kind of was like, all right, cool. He don't like the shit that I got him, or, you know, maybe, I don't know what I was thinking at the time. I don't really remember, but that was that. So, at this point, the pandemic is in full swing. We 2 months into the pandemic. Like, we can't go nowhere. We got to wear masks. It's a mandate. Like, we on lockdown. And it's just like, okay, we can't go to no restaurants. We ain't really dating. We kind of just in the house, kicking it, chilling. And he wasn't smoking at the time. So it was like, yeah, this is it. Like, this is what we doing. June come around and I don't got it. Like I haven't been working. Like ain't nobody really getting readings because we on quarantine. It's kind of like, you know. So I didn't have it. So I looked to him to like help me pay the rent. I'm like, shit, I need you to help me pay the rent. And he looking at me like, bitch, what the fuck? Like I don't, you know, I guess I don't got it either. But at this time, okay, so I skipped something. So around April, he pretty much had came to me. So 2 weeks after he moved in, he pretty much came to me like, look, I want to hustle. Like, I got this so-and-so, and I'm finna make some shit shake from it. Like, I'm finna get fronted, but, you know, like, I'm finna shake back and I'm finna do blase. So I'm like, okay, like I didn't really understand what hustling meant. I was used to like niggas who sell weed, you know. I was used to, I don't know, I guess, and I was only used to niggas that sell weed from a buyer standpoint, like I'm calling a weed man type shit. And yeah, so I'm like, okay, cool. Like I was kind of kept away from everything for a while. And then it got to the point where he basically asked me to use my car one day. So he asked me to use my car, and I said yeah. And from that day, it was like he wasn't even asking. He just kept grabbing my keys and like leaving and like using my car, going places, serving women, going to go smoke with them and shit. And I didn't know this at the time, but shit, that's what was happening in my car. So one day, he finally got some time for me. We ended up getting into an argument. I told him like, you can't take my car, blah blah blah. Somehow the fight got diffused, and he was like, let's go out to eat. Let's go to Burger King and let's go get you a vegan burger. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever, cool. So we get in the car, we riding, and my car just go out. My car just stopped. And I'm like, damn, I'm thinking in my head, like, he gonna take care of this shit. Like, he been driving it and shit, and, you know, whatever. So he called a hype come get the car, tow it to the house, and immediately he just junked it. He like, all right, my hype gonna take it here, da, da, da. And I'm sitting here like, damn, like, I ain't even get to, what if I had money to fix it? Like, what, like, this is my car, and you're just making executive decisions about my car. So that was that. And then fast forward, he had bought him a car. He pulled up to the house like, oh, baby, I got us a car. But it was like, it was shit wrong with the car. It made a lot of noise. It was really, really small, and it smelled really, really bad. But I was still appreciative, like, and my friend was over there, and she was pregnant. And I remember not wanting her to feel no type of way. I'm like, damn, my nigga just pulled up with a new car for us, like, you know, like, and she having baby daddy problems. Like, I don't want to rub the shit in her face. So I wasn't like, oh, I'm so excited about the car. Like, I wasn't all like super appreciative like he wanted me to be. And I was also still mad, like, we into it low key, because you just did this to my car. Like, you just ran the miles up. You just basically like ran my car down. And then when I got in the car, it's like, this car not my car. Like, it's all this shit wrong with it. Like, you bought it for like only a couple $100. Like, this shit not gonna last. All this negative shit going on in my head, right? But I'm still trying to be positive, but I'm aware of the fact that, like, bitch, you're being negative. Like, okay, I looked at his face and I could tell, like, damn, I probably made his confidence go down because I'm not happy. So I tried to smile. I tried to be like, all right, like, whatever. Like, we gonna ride in this motherfucker. We finna do that. Then come the end of the month, and I'm like, damn, okay, so I'm not gonna have July rent either. Like, what you finna do? And he was finna go to Arkansas on me. And he didn't tell me, he didn't plan it. It wasn't like, here, baby, I'm gonna have my half of the rent. Like, you know, whatever. It was just like, I'm finna go to Arkansas. So in my mind, I'm like, damn, you leaving me high and dry and shit. Like, this, like, what the fuck? I don't understand this shit. Like, I don't understand. So he in Arkansas, we arguing because, oh, I skipped a part. Okay, so we ended up selling the car because we had to make rent money, and he wasn't finna be in town anyway. He was leaving for like a month. So he was just like, shit, I'm gonna sell the car. But now I don't got a car, and I don't have my rent money, right? Right. So he left, and he left me a gift, and he was like, here's $200, and he bought me like some tie-dye stuff because I wanted to tie-dye at the time. Tell him like, this really what I want to do. So he bought me some Hanes t-shirts, all the tie-dye material. Now I'm like, okay, $200, but this is my birthday gift. But later he ended up telling me like, I thought that was my half of the rent. I'm like, $200, but that's, again, besides the point. So yeah, he sold the car. He ended up giving me some money, leaving, going to Arkansas, whatever. So we arguing back and forth, but we also still like in love with each other, and it's new kind of still. It's like we only a couple months in. It's July. So he gone for my birthday and shit. I'm sad. I'm getting drunk with my friends. I'm going out damn near every day with Brandy and Charlie. Charlie was coming over every day. It was just like, I was just going through the motions. It's like I was sad, but trying not to be sad, trying not to think about a nigga. But like once I got home from my friends, it was like, okay, now this nigga FaceTiming me, or we talking on the phone, or we literally talking on the phone till he fall asleep. And I'm just like, okay, I feel bogus if I hang up. But like, you know, I was still upset and mad about certain shit that I felt like I wasn't being taken care of as a woman. So at this point, I still have confidence. I'm still like, what the fuck? Like, I'm still in my mind feeling some type of way, but I'm kind of ignoring that shit, because I'm like, damn, he's still a good nigga though. Like, for whatever reason, I guess that was just my excuse. I'm like, he's still a good nigga. Like, he better than other niggas. And I had been single for a minute, so it was like, I hadn't had sex in a year. It was just like, you know, like, I'm ready. And I had been manifesting. I had been being real spiritual. I had been getting into like the twin flame journey. So I had been seeing signs, and I'm just like, okay, he's the one. Like, watching readings, I'm like, okay, he's the one. They had been describing him. Again, he's the one. And all them readings was so spot on. So much so that after a while, I stopped watching readings, because it was like, I felt like he was in on my business. Like, if it was a reading plan and they saying some stuff that I know is on point, I feel like he'd be listening, or I don't know. Okay. Again, besides the point. But, so yeah, he left. So he comes back like July 28th or whatever, and we have sex that night. I end up getting pregnant. I didn't find out I was pregnant until 2 weeks later. On the 15th of August. On the 17th of August. Oh, mind y'all, I had lied about being pregnant. One of them months, we had got into it. I think it was like May. It was around Mother's Day. I lied about being pregnant. That shit came around. Karma came around real fast. But I lied about being pregnant. I don't remember. I think he was like finna leave, or he was going to Arkansas. It was, I don't know, because it wasn't when he was going to Arkansas. I don't know. I lied. Dumb shit, stupid shit. I regret it. Yes, I lied. I never do that shit again. I ended up lying about being pregnant. And so this time, he didn't believe me, like, when I said I was pregnant. So I had to take damn near like 5 tests before I was even ready to show him or tell him that I was pregnant. So I ended up telling him I was pregnant. He didn't believe me. So 2 days later, we went to go take a test. We went together to go get the test to go. He watched me pee. I took the test. That's the video that y'all probably seen on Instagram of us finding out that we were pregnant for the first time. And then I remember the next day waking up to somebody texting me and being like, oh yeah, something, your nigga so-and-so, so-and-so. And I don't even remember. I can't even remember what the fuck she said or what happened, or if she even had proof or screenshots. I didn't even care about any of that. I just deleted the message, and I was like, no, I don't even think I deleted it. I had showed Jonathan, like, what the fuck is this? I woke up. I literally woke up out of my sleep, and when I wake up out of my sleep, my alarm is on my phone. So I checked my phone. I'm like, okay. I woke up, and I went to Instagram, and I saw the shit. And I was asleep, and Kamaya was in the bed too. Again, this is a very transparent moment. This is a very transparent video. If you hear the bash or anything like that, watch it at your own leisure. If you want to bash, keep that shit to yourself. If you do comment, go ahead. But it happened, okay? So Kamaya was in the bed or whatever, and Again, I woke up on my sleep, I saw the shit, I hurry up and showed him, like, what the fuck is this? And I punched him dead in his shit, like, boom. And then he hurry up and had deleted the shit. I grabbed the phone to, like, look at it. And he had deleted that shit. So at this point, I'm going in on his shit. I'm like, beat him up. And then he get up out his sleep, like, okay, like, he got me. He looking around like, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this. Kamaya go sitting in the chair just watching this. And I'm like, you gotta go. Like, you gotta get your shit. You gotta go. So at this point, I had kicked him out the house. I made him take all his shit. He ended up leaving. And then later that night, I had took my baby to my mama's house. And I don't know how we end up getting in contact, but I low-key think I called him. I think I had called him. And I'm like, so what the fuck is this? Like, you're not even going to call me. Like, you're not even going to apologize. You're not even. So was this a way out? Was this a way for you to get rid of me? Like, why you wouldn't just say you don't want to be together if shit was getting too hard, blah, 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 all this shit. So, yeah, I don't know. But he ended up coming home that night, and I'm just, again, going in on his shit. So for days, like literally for days, I was going in on his shit. Like, I don't know why. I was just so angry and I was so upset. And that was the first time that he had ever experienced something like that. And I just remember him looking so pitiful and so broken, being like, damn, like he kept saying, like, I never wanted to be in this kind of relationship. And, yeah, like, I just remember seeing his face, and it was just like, I can't believe you just hit me. Like, I can't believe we fighting. And then I remember one time, he had never let me live it down. I bit the shit out of him. He ended up grabbing all his shit after I told him to get all his shit and get out the house. And then I wouldn't let him leave. He like, Caprice, you love me. You don't want me to leave. Like, why don't you want me to leave? And that just made me even madder. So at this point, like, I'm grabbing his shit. I'm taking it out the bag. It's like, you got me so fucked up. All that type of shit. I can't even remember all the shit that done fucking happened. But that happened. And then for months, we dealt with that shit. Me constantly asking him, like, okay, so tell me all the truth. So tell me what happened. So tell me when y'all met up. So tell me when y'all was fucking and what happened and how that happened. And So hearing your man tell you some truth about some shit, it's like, and then it's like, you never gonna believe 100% of what the nigga say. Like, even if he telling the truth, I never know. Because it's more shit that I done found out, like, in the aftermath. Like, people posting pictures of my nigga in his past, and it's like, I got you that. Or I remember when you bought this, or we was together, like, when you got this shirt, and you with her in her room smoking, and I know when you got that shirt, like, we was together, like, oh, okay. But, again, besides the point, because this is not that kind of video. I don't know why. Yeah. So that happened, and I invited all of this. We both invited all of this toxic energy into our life and into our relationship and into my daughter's life. So at this point, he high in the life. He out, and he started to take drugs. At first, I feel like he was hiding it, or I wasn't aware of it, or maybe he wasn't doing it. I don't know. But it went from, like, we started smoking together to perks, Zans, lean, drank. And then, yeah, one night he had tried MDMA. I think that's what it is, or coke. I think it was coke. I hope it was. Bitch, I don't fucking know, so I ain't gonna speak on that shit because I don't know. Oh my God, I know his family and stuff might see this, but my story deserves to be told too, because going through that and experiencing that was very traumatic for me. So yeah, we're gonna talk about it. So he started doing drugs and shit, and I remember one night one of his boys had brung him some shit, and he came in the house. He was like, yeah, baby, I just did a bump of it. Like, I sniffed it. And he was like, you want me to call him back? Like, you want me to call him and get you some? And I was just cleaning up the house, and I'm like, no, like, I'm okay, I don't want to try it. But he called him back, and he's like, yeah, bro, what is this shit? And he was just so hyped up, and he was hyped up for like 3 days. He was hyped up for like 3 days, and I was pregnant. I'm pregnant at this time now, and I remember him coming home, y'all, and my memory is bad, so I don't know if I did something to him. I don't know if I made him mad. I don't know what happened. I don't remember nothing happening, but it probably did, because I don't know. But I remember being home, sleeping in my bed, pregnant, sick every single day. I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, I was smoking. I was trying to stop, but like, if Jonathan would leave weed around the house, like, I would roll me a blunt and I would smoke it. And that's me just, again, being transparent. It might have been about me smoking. I think I had asked him, like, do you want me to stop smoking? And I knew that he wanted me to stop, but it was like he wouldn't admit it. So he was still giving me weed, or, you know, like, it did get to the point where I'm like, okay, we'll take all of this, or whatever. He was hiding it so that I couldn't have it, because I was fiending. I was sick, and weed was the only thing that made me eat or allowed me to keep my food down. I lost so much weight. I was so tiny, and it was just bad. So I remember one night he came in the house, and he like ripped all the cover off of me and like dragged me out the bed. We got into it real bad. And then I had put him out the house. I ended up getting in the shower. He broke into the house from the window. And I was in the shower, and we got to fighting or whatever. And I remember he like flipped me. Like, he took my legs and he like flipped me. And I just remember falling back, and I remember thinking, like, I could have died. Like, my head could have hit that, and what would happen to somebody? Somebody was in the bed asleep. I feel like I'm gonna get so much judgment from this video. But yeah, so that happened, and I remember he had these Beats headphones that he had got from my head, and he loved those headphones. He loved them. And while he was fighting me, I hurried up and pulled his headphones down in the water, and I submerged them, and I kept dunking them. I'm like, you're not gonna use them. Like, get off of me, blah, 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 whatever. And Kamaya woke up, and I just remember getting so, like, frantic. Like, I don't want him to go in there, but, like, I gotta go in there. I don't want her to hear us fighting. Like, oh my God. And I just remember knowing at that moment, I'm like, I'm scared of you, but I stopped trusting him in that moment. Like, I had already not trusted him, like, to have sex with him, or like as far as being my man, because he cheated. But I was the one put my hands on him, and for that to happen, and then he had one in there with Kamaya and was like, oh, and then we read her a book, and it just made me feel gross. It was like, how you gonna just hurt me like that, and then go in there with my baby and act like nothing ever happened? Like, what if I would have passed away? Would you have just left the scene? Or would you have, like, protected her? Or there's nothing you could have did if that would have happened, but I don't want to think about it. Anyway, but that's the thought that I kept having, that kept going in my mind for days, and for probably a week, 2 weeks. I don't know. Time is warped in my mind. I don't know. But at this point, I remember we had sat down. We had a conversation. And every morning I used to think he was going in the bathroom and, like, watching porn. And because he used to be in there for like 2 hours, and I used to get so upset because he would be in there for 2 hours, he'd wake right up, go be in the bathroom for 2 hours, and then not even brush his teeth, wash his face, nothing, just get a call and be like, all right, I gotta go. Like, I gotta go to the money. Like, it is what it is. And I just used to be so turned off by it. But it was just like, it was what I knew as hustling. Like, wearing the same joggy. Like, people say that in songs and shit. But to be living it is just like a turn off, like. But I was a turn off too. Like, I wasn't showering. I was in the bed. I was depressed. I was throwing up so much. I was throwing up all my food. The house was a mess. We had so many fruit flies, so many ants. It was just like, it was a mess. It was a mess. We didn't have ants because the house was dirty. We had ants because of the foundation of the house. But that's besides the point. the house was gross on 37th Street. If you've been there, then you know. Most of y'all been over there. But yeah, so the house was a mess. The house was dirty. I wasn't doing my part as a woman. I didn't want to have sex with him. So it was just like, we wasn't in a good headspace. And I remember sitting him down and we had a conversation. I'm like, about you being in the bathroom. And he was like, I go in there and I do meth. I think he said meth. I don't really know what he said. But I remember him being like, I go in the bathroom and I do meth every morning. And that's how I get through my day, or that's why I be up every night. He was like, would you love me any less? I was like, yeah. I was like, you gotta go. Like, you can't, I love you, but I love Kamaya more, so you can't live here. Like, you can't, we can't be together. And his face was so serious. And he was basically just breaking it down to me. Like, when I go in there, just like you wake up and you smoke your blunt in the morning, I go in there and I do X, Y, and Z. And he broke down the process to me. And I'm like, in my mind, it felt so real. And then he was like, I'm just playing. He's like, I'm just playing. And I'm like, no, Jonathan, for real, you gotta go. He like, no, Caprice, for real, I'm just playing. He was like, I always told you I want to be a model or I want to be an actor. Like, I could do that. Like, you believe me, right? You believed me, right? And from that day forward, like, I always thought like he was doing drugs. And like, to this day, I don't know for sure. I don't think so. I think maybe he was a little, like, had, the drugs that he was, boy and girl. I got loud, boy and girl. He say that shit in the song. I'm not saying nothing that's not known, nothing that was not put on Instagram and shit. So, he had boy and girl on him all the time. So it's kind of like, it was probably in his hands. He was probably inhaling, probably getting high. I done watched him plenty of times go serve somebody and not put on no hand sanitizer, but you just got our food, or we just went out and got some food, or whatever. But so again, that happened, and at this point I'm questioning him. Like, I don't look at you the same. Like, you done cheated on me, you out hustling every night, you leaving me by myself, I'm pregnant, all this shit. And now that I'm saying it back, it's like, well, damn, bitch, it's your fault you stayed. But I loved him, and I feel like he loves me, like, for real. And it just is what it is. We had love in all of this. We had struggle in all of this, because while he was going through what he was going through, I was depressed. I was going through shit. I had quit my job. I was trying to be an entrepreneur. I didn't want to get a pussy up. I wasn't cleaning up. I wasn't being a woman. Like, I was loving him how I wanted to be loved. Like, I wanted to have deep conversations with him. But he would be like, I don't know how to talk to you, or I don't know how to have a conversation. He would just be silent. And I'm sitting here trying to talk to him or get close to him or be on him, and I felt like I was constantly vying for his time, like, scared to call him. I remember one day he like, Rich, you can call me on the phone, right? But in my mind, I'm like, shit, well, your phone always occupied, or I feel like I don't have that right. Even though I was his girlfriend and he was using my car and we had been through all this shit, it was like, I didn't feel like I had rights to him. And you don't have rights to anybody. Like, you don't possess anybody. But I feel like if you my man, you should make me feel good, or maybe I have some insecurities within myself that I don't feel good enough to be a priority in your life, to be able to just call you, pick up the phone and call you. Right? So, I remember one time he read my journal. He read my dang on journal. So I felt like my vice, writing stuff down about how I felt about him, had gotten taken away. And I'm big on, like, I lose patches of my memory because of certain traumas that I've been through. So I'll forget shit on a day-to-day basis, or like, he'll not understand how I'm just over the fight. And it's just like, not that I don't remember, but those emotions are just not there anymore. It's like gone. So we went up back and forth a lot. He finally started feeling comfortable enough with me to tell me about everything that he was doing and to have me riding with him. So at this point, I'm riding with him. I'm seeing everything. I'm aware of everything. He's owing people back. He's getting fronted. But at the time, I didn't really understand what that meant. Like, he was telling me, but I didn't know that meant we didn't have money, or I didn't know that meant the money that we do have is really owed to somebody and certain stuff like that. I remember one time, after he cheated, I felt some type of way. He had left the house, but our rent wasn't paid and we needed shit in the house. I'm like, well, you got money up in my purse, so I'm finna go get it. So I took $100. I went to go get my nails done. I went to go get some bleach and some cleaning supplies for the house and some groceries. And I remember he never put money in the house ever again. And I felt some type of way about it. I'm like, dang, you really don't trust me, even though shit, like, we needed that shit that I shouldn't even have to ask you for. But in hindsight, that shit was stealing, because if a nigga did that shit to me and he ended up stealing $5 from me, and I was so hurt by it because we was in an argument. So you wanted to take my last $5. Again, I was broke, so you taking my last $5 really hurt, and that $100 was owed to his plug, and I had took that from him. I had stole that from him. So it was a lot of ways that we had broke each other's trust. It was a lot of shit that I was probably doing that I wasn't aware of, or it was probably a lot of ways that maybe I wasn't showing up for him that he needed me to, but maybe he didn't know how to voice that to me, or he didn't know how to really tell me what he needed from me. Our whole relationship, I used to always ask him, like, well, what do you need from me after he cheated? I'm like, well, what did I do? Because I understand that, like, niggas do that shit out of ego. Like, they don't feel satisfied, so they want to talk to a woman. But why don't you feel satisfied? Like, where can I be a better woman to you? Like, what do you need from me? I was very aware of the fact that I wanted him to know that I cared about changing for him or being different for him. So I used to call him all his name. I used to call him all type of bitches and hoes, and tell him that his sex was bad and that his dick was little and all kind of shit that would come out when I was upset. It wasn't like, hey baby, I feel like we need to be more intimate. Like, maybe I like making love instead of you doing like what you doing. But instead it came out, and nigga, you don't even know how to fuck, and I be faking and da 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 da. And that, you know, that does something to somebody's spirit, because I can't imagine him telling me that shit. Like, some of the shit I would say to him, or some of the ways that I would make him feel small, it's like I wasn't doing it purposefully, but immediately after, it would be like, damn, bitch, like. And he had already expressed to me about being suicidal since he was 8 years old, going through depression, going through, you know, being in jail since he was literally 15 years old, being in and out of prisons. From 15 to 25, like, come on. Yeah. So, that was that. So, fast forward, it's November, and I go into labor. I don't even really remember my labor. My labor is kind of like a blur. But I remember laying in the bed one day and waking up and feeling like I peed on myself. But I'm like, I know I didn't pee on myself because I didn't have to pee. It just gushed out of me and woke me up. So I'm sitting there on my phone, like, watching, like, pregnancy videos. And then Jonathan wake up like, did you pee in the bed? I'm like, can you smell it? Because I don't know what it is, but I don't think I peed in the bed. And subconsciously, I knew that my water had broke, but, like, I didn't know for real. And, yeah, I had a whole story about what happened with my labor and delivery, but basically, one day, Jonathan had stayed out all night, and I remember I was laying in the bed, and I was so mad. I'm like, I'm not letting you in the house. I had took his key. I'm like, I'm not letting you in the house. And I was watching Girlfriends, and on Girlfriends, she had a miscarriage. She was having a miscarriage, and I was watching it, but I was falling asleep because, again, I'm pregnant. I'm tired. We had went to the mall that day. So, yeah. So he was sleeping in his car. I don't know if he was really sleeping in his car, but he said he was outside sleeping in the car, and because I wouldn't let him in the house. And so I had finally woke up or whatever, and I felt like a whole bunch of blood or like wet stuff in my panties. So I put on a pad, and I ended up like going to open up the door, and then I had called him. I was like, well, if you really outside, you come in the house. So he ended up coming in the house. He had brought me like snacks and shit that was like placed at the door that I didn't see. I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe he was here all night. So I ended up letting him in the house. He ended up coming in. I was still mad, so I went in the bedroom, and then he was up in the living room. And I remember going to the bathroom to pee, and my baby foot had popped out my vagina. And I'm like, Jonathan! And that scarred him. He hated me saying like Jonathan. Like he hated me. But so yeah, my baby foot had popped out, and we called my mama, and he had called my doctor. I didn't even know he knew my doctor number, but he called my doctor, and he rushed me to the hospital. And we did that. We had that baby. And after that, we rode together selling drugs like every day, because I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want him just leaving me in the house by myself. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna come with you. So we ain't really have money at the time, so shit, I was like packing little lunches, like making the shit that we can eat on the go, and we was just grinding. We was just getting it like all day, every day for a while. So we had a good Christmas. I tried to get on my shit when it came to like my business and all that. I tried to focus on my business after the baby died. And then February came. February came, and I conceived my baby on 2/21. February 21st, we had sex. That was the only time that we had sex. Again, I think he had came back from Arkansas. Again, he was always going back and forth to Arkansas. So he had this time he had went to Arizona. He had went to go get a pack. And he had went with 2 dudes. And he had came back or whatever, and we got smoked out. We had a good day. It was like, yeah, came home, we had sex on that day. I ended up getting pregnant and finding out like a week and a half later, because once you get pregnant enough times, you know your body. And I was super fertile because, again, we had just had a baby. So I got pregnant again. And I remember for whatever reason, me and him had broke up. Me and him was fighting. And it was our anniversary coming up, March 21st. Our anniversary was coming up. And I remember for like 2 days, we had been fighting. We had went to Crawdaddy's, and we got to talking about something, and he was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like, I only sent her money one time. And I'm like, we wouldn't, like, how the fuck we, like, that never came out. Like, you spending money on another woman. You got to looking up Cashapp. You like, look, I only sent her $5. I'm like, why did you send her anything? Like, I don't want to see that shit. Like, and I punched him dead in his mouth. Like, I reached over and I like popped him in the mouth. Yeah. Oh, I missed another time that I made him feel so bad. He made me feel bad too. But after we had the baby, so y'all know we had our baby on 11/11, so November 11th. His birthday is November 23rd. So November 23rd, on the day before his birthday, so November 22nd, we was driving. We had bought some drink. We was both finna lean together. I had drank lean a couple times with him. So we was finna lean together. It was his birthday. So he was going up in the liquor store to go get the styrofoam cups and go get some ice and shit. We was finna pour up. And I had looked at my phone, and it was this white girl, and she was basically like I was with Jonathan last night. When you had called him at 3 o'clock in the morning, he had hurried up and left my house and went home to you, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, I know it was true, because as soon as I called him, he didn't answer, and he called me right back and was like, I'm on my way. Was at home in like 2 minutes, so I knew it was true. It was just like, damn, okay, so what you went to go do? You went to go get some birthday pussy, whatever. He said, oh, I ain't fuck her. She was with Tay Tay, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, I don't mean to name drop, whatever. What's that? Whatever. You know, okay. So, I remember being in a liquor store and being in the parking lot looking at my phone. So, when he came out, I didn't even say shit to him. I just, boom, again, popped him in his motherfucking mouth. And I remember looking for it, and it was this man outside the liquor store, and he saw everything that happened. And I immediately felt so bad. I'm like, damn, that shit embarrassing as a bitch, and it's his birthday. He looked nice, like, damn. So, yeah, that shit happened. So I ended up telling him, like, fucking take me home. Take me the fuck home. Like, take me home. So he ended up taking me home, and he got fucked the fuck up. He was leaning, drinking, sipping, all kinds of fucked up ass shit. Jugged the fuck out. And he ended up coming back home the next day. I called him like, you need to come the fuck home, blah, blah, blah. He came home. I had his gifts waiting for him. He was on the phone with Rico. And he's just like, damn, bro, she just made you so happy. Like, just gave you all this shit. And I'm like, yeah, you ain't know he cheated on me yesterday, blah, blah, blah. And I still made his birthday special and did all this shit. So even though I'm mad he cheated on me, I'm like, damn, it's his birthday. Your birthday is special. So we end up going out the next day, and I just remember him being on so many drugs that I was so embarrassed. Like, we went to Denny's and he just talking like it was, I don't know. I just remember being so embarrassed. Like, this is what people going through. And then we had ended up going to Qdoba the next day. And our baby had just died, and it was his birthday. It was his first year out. So I understand that he was going through a lot. So I don't hold him. You know, it is what it is. But I remember we had went to Qdoba, and we were supposed to be going on a date. And he was so fucking high that we just had to sit in the fucking parking lot. And I was just, again, so fucking embarrassed. I'm just like, dang. Like, you supposed to be my man. You can't protect me. Like, we not safe right now. You got your gun right here. Like, it's just, we in Glendale. Like, it was just so much shit on a day-to-day basis that I'm like, what the fuck? So then we end up laying in the bed one day, and I'm talking to him like, I feel like you not being careful. I feel like somebody following us, or I feel like, you know, like the cops is on our asses, or, you know, like he had just bought a car from one of his friends that also sold dope. So it's like, I felt like the car was hot. I'm like, shit, they probably, you know, it ain't like no serious shit, but I feel like motherfuckers probably got a BP, whatever, IED or whatever, I don't know what it's called, but motherfuckers probably got a bolo on this car, or know about this car, or have seen this car in the hood. It's probably motherfucker got pulled over a couple times. So I'm just like, I don't feel comfortable being in it. Again, he had bought another car by this time. I kept feeling like he was hiding money from me. Like, he balling, he buying himself shit, but like, we don't got shit. Like, our rent ain't paid. Mind y'all, this whole time we struggling to pay rent, behind their rent, but it's COVID time, so they ain't doing no eviction, so we straight a little bit. But our landlord was still making us pay rent. So a lot of people was not paying rent at all, but we was still having to come up with the $700, and we couldn't even do that between the both of us. I'm like, you selling drugs, you literally out all night having me stressing about this, and it's not worth it because we can't pay our bills. But I wasn't working either. Like, I was depressed, I was sad, I had just had the baby, my body was fucked up. That wasn't an excuse. Like, I should have been helping him. All the pressure shouldn't have been on him, but at the time, I felt like if you selling drugs, you should be making a lot of money. You should be making enough money to take care of me, and I just had your baby. Like, I'm sad. I knew that he was sad too, but I'm like, shit, you hustling still. Like, if you was really sad, you would be at home with me. Like, we'd be sad together. But no, you out hustling. So if that's the case, you gonna make this money. Like, it is what it is. No, I'm not working because I'm in the car riding with you. So that happened. And then, so after he cheated on me, and he told me about paying a girl $5 for some gas, I ended up hitting him. I ended up running out the car because he ended up hitting me back, and I hurry up and ran out the car, and I'm running, minding you, I'm pregnant, and I'm only like 5 weeks. I'm 5 weeks pregnant, and I'm running, I'm going back and forth, I'm running, and it's just a fucked up situation. So we fighting, we tussling, so then we end up going to a hotel. And we was like, okay, we're going to drink a little bit. So he had bought some wine. When you pregnant, you can have real wine. So I had me a cup of wine, and he had some wine. He had smoked. I didn't smoke this pregnancy. But yeah, so we was having a good night. It was our anniversary. So I had put on some lingerie. We had went to the sex store. We got some stuff. And I had a good night, and I just remember him crying like, dang, like I never had nobody do this for me before. And, you know, I went to sleep feeling sad, like, dang, like not saying we didn't have good sex. That's not what it was, but it was just like, dang, like, you just went to sleep on me. But it was because he be hustling, and he be so tired, and all this adrenaline, we had been fighting. We had been fussing and fighting for like 2 days. So yeah, that happened. And then the next day we ended up going out to eat after leaving the hotel, having sex, all that kind of stuff. We had hard sex a little bit, because I remember it hurting. And then the next day we went out to eat and shit like that. But then that night Kamaya ended up being in the bed. I ended up having to take her to my mom's house because I started bleeding in the middle of the night. I went to the bathroom, and I was just like a gush of blood. And I was that. And then that was March. So then March, April, May 19th, he ended up getting arrested on drugs. I remember that day like it was yesterday. He we had got into a fight, and I had again put him out the house. I think he had left, like he left me. This was one of the times where he had broke up with me, and he had all his stuff up in his car. He had went to his mama's house, and I was so mad at him, like, now your mama gonna know we got into it. Like, his face was all busted up, bruised up, and he had like broke some shit in the house. Like, we had just got into it real bad, and I had fucked his face up, and he was like, I'm embarrassed to go home, so I'm just in my car or whatever. And he was just riding around in his car, and he ended up getting into an accident. And he ended up calling me like, okay, I got into an accident, can you come get me? So I had Kamaya in the car, and I had just got a new dog from the shelter that same day. So I had the new dog from the shelter in the car with me. I had Kamaya in the car with me, and I pulled up to him, and I'm like, come see the dog, come see the dog. And when I saw him, I'm like, damn, he on drugs, he fucked up. His mouth was all fucked up. He was out of there. So I hurried up and got back in the car with Kamaya, because Kamaya all looking, like, trying to see. And he had pulled off, so I'm like, okay, am I supposed to follow him? Like, nigga, your car is fucked up. What are you doing? So he ended up driving, and I lost him. Like, I didn't know where he went or where he went. So I was just stuck for a minute, and then I ended up calling him like 5 times. Kept going to voicemail, so I went home. Next thing you know, I ain't talked to him all night, so I wrote his friend Rico, like, Jonathan didn't come home. My man don't never not come home. I don't give a fuck if he was cheating, which fuck, he always came home to me. Okay, so when he didn't come home, it wasn't no, oh, he out cheating. It was immediately like, what happened to my man? Where is he at? So I ended up calling his friend, like, he ain't come home. That's not something, even if you come home at 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, this man is coming home. This man did not come home. So I'm like, nah, this ain't, where's my man at? And then Jonathan ended up calling me. And he was in jail. And I was moving at the time. So again, I felt like, here we are, it's another year, my birthday coming up. So it's June now, because he got arrested in May. So at the end of May, so now it's June, I got this dog. My landlord like, bitch, you got a dog? You can't have dogs here. You got to get out in 30 days. So I'm like, okay, I wanted to move anyway, because I felt like he was getting over on me during COVID, making us pay rent, and then nobody else had to pay rent. So I wanted to move anyway. So I'm like, it's a blessing in disguise. But I didn't have no money. I felt like, Jonathan, you're in jail. Like, you've been hustling all this time, and you don't got no money to give me. Like, you don't got no funds. Like, ain't that what you hustle for? To be able to take care of your family, to be able to take care of your people. That's what you say. So I felt like he left me high and dry. So I ended up stripping. He was mad at me about that shit. So I'm like, I got that weighing on me, like, damn, he mad about this shit. But low-key, I didn't care, because I felt like he left me high and dry. Like, I ain't had no money or nothing. I had to do what I had to do. I'm literally having to leave my apartment and just go. Like, leave my house and just fucking go. Mind you, I live in a duplex. I have a big-ass backyard, big-ass front yard, a hammock. My baby got a room. My rabbit got a set up. Like, I'm comfortable. I'm set up. Like, I'm, like, I don't have money or the energy to be trying to move, and my man is gone. Like, I didn't feel protected. I didn't feel safe. My man used to have a gun. Now he in prison. Like, we don't got no protection. I felt like all his action, or plenty of people have been pulling up to 37th Street. So it was just like a lot of shit I didn't trust. I didn't trust females. I thought a lot of people wanted to fight me because of him. I didn't know what bitches he had fucked with. It was just like my mind was all over the place at the time. So I was stripping for like a week, I went to strip like 3 days, like a Friday, a Saturday, and then again the next following Friday, I think. I don't really remember if that's how I went, but I think so. I don't remember. But immediately I'm like, I don't want niggas touching on me. I don't want niggas feeling on me. I got a man. Not even just I got a man, but this shit is degrading. So that shit was done. So I was going through not really having enough money to like put on Jonathan phones, or plus I was feeling like, why the fuck should I be paying for you to be in jail when I told your ass not to go to jail, or I've been telling you to not to hustle. The whole time I didn't want him hustling. I was sad and in the bed every day because my man wouldn't come home. Like, it was causing me to make me feel insecure. Instead, I should have just bossed up, like, and just did my shit. And while he was at work or while he was hustling, I should have been hustling too. But I didn't have that mindset at the time. I was like fixated on, well, am I not good enough for you to be home with me? Petty, childish, you know. That was where my mind was at the time. So that's what it was. So I remember just having to go through the motions of like, Kamaya is seeing me on home wave with my man and he in jail. Like, so that was devastating to me. I kept having to lie to Kamaya, like, he'll be back, he out of town. But my baby knew what the fuck was up. I'm dealing with a dog that I'm scared of in my home. like everything, we was arguing on the phone every day, but we was loving too, and we was being there for each other, and we was sending each other letters every single day. Kamaya was writing them letters. I was like sending them sexy pictures, sending them pictures of his family, going to their Instagrams and Facebooks. Like, it was like we was just there, like we was in love, and we was there for each other. And it was like, you going through some shit, I'm going through some shit. Like, he had to go through a lot of shit in jail, and I never forget just those phone calls and hearing the background. And it's just like, damn, that shit, I know he was just going through it. I know that shit was a sad ass time for him, and I just know that ain't no place that nobody want to be. So it just made me have so much compassion for him in that time. And then he ended up surprising me. I didn't even know he was gonna come home. I think he wanted to see if I had a nigga up in here, but he said he just didn't want to tell me. And I still to this day don't know how he got out, why he got out. And he always say, like, I prayed him out. Like, me and Kamaya prayed him out. Like, God got him out, because it ain't no way, under his circumstances, finding everything that they found on him, that he should have got out. So, yeah, but by the grace of God, he got out. And shit was bad immediately. Like, I ended up going, he went through my Facebook, I went through his, and I ended up seeing a girl. She had ended up calling him like, yeah, I know you must know Jonathan is out if you answer his phone. So, like, why he ain't hit me up? I'm his friend. I met him in jail. We was in the HOC together, and blah, blah, blah. Mind you, Jonathan had mentioned something to me about her, but I guess he didn't tell me all the details, because why do she know you out? It was supposed to be a secret that he was home. He wasn't gonna get no phone. He wasn't gonna hustle. He was just gonna get his shit together, get on his shit. So for 3 weeks to a month, he didn't have no phone. He wasn't hustling. He didn't have no car or nothing like that. Like, she was okay. It was okay. I was getting back into the groove, because it's like, for 3-4 months, shit, for 5 months, I had been on my own in this new crib. Like, it was like new, it was fresh, it was only my energy. My dog is comfortable and safe. And then it was like, this man came home, he frightened my dog, she was abused. So it was like, every day she was barking. Every day we had to deal with Lovey escaping. The fish was dying back and forth. Like, we was arguing every single day. Kamaya was in virtual learning, so it was like she was up under us every single day. And it was like, I felt like I had no space. And I didn't even know that I was pregnant. I literally got pregnant like the night he came home. I was ovulating that night, and I ended up getting pregnant. So as soon as he got home, I was sick every motherfucking day. From the moment he got home to the moment I wasn't pregnant no more, I was sick. And once again, I'm in the bed and I'm depressed. And at this point, I feel like all of what we had already been through had already dampened our relationship so much. Like, it was literally like, I didn't trust the word he said. I always felt like he was lying. And I feel like Jonathan was honestly a genuine dude. Like, he told me so much truth that it was like, I guess I was always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, I always just thought he was lying. I don't know why, I just did. He always told me he was going to change, and this was going to be different, and that was going to be different, and I can look forward to this. And when he was in prison, he like, I'm going to cook for you, and I'm going to court you, and I'm going to date you, and I'm going to do all this stuff. And it was like, when he got home, I wasn't the same girl that I was before he went to jail. So it was like, my expectations were different. Like, what I wanted was different, but I was also pregnant. I also couldn't do for myself. So I found myself, I don't want to say using him, but it was like, as unhappy as I was, I needed the money. I needed him to be paying our rent. I hate to say that, but it was getting to the point where, like, well, if he's not going to change, at least he's paying our rent. And then it was like, our baby passed away. Our baby passed away in February, like right by Kamaya's birthday. So that stressed us out. Like, and Jonathan was sober, so it was kind of like, I felt like his emotions were heightened. My emotions were heightened. It was just, I don't know. I feel like it was a lot. I feel like it really was a lot. Like, it was just a lot. it was just a lot to deal with. It was a lot of process. And then my dog died because I was pregnant. I wasn't really getting up to feed her. I just expected Jonathan to do it, even though he was scared of her. I felt like shit. I was scared of her at first too. Like I still was scared of her the whole time, but I still did that shit anyway. Like yeah, sometimes you're gonna be scared of shit, but you gotta do it. I felt like as a man, like you should be getting this shit up on the balcony, or you should be doing this, or you should be taking care of her. And one morning I went outside to go feed her, and she was dead. She was dead. And I blamed Jonathan, like, not in that moment. Like, in a moment, we had buried her. We went by the old house and we buried her in the ground. He did all of that shit for me because I was pregnant. And I remember we had gotten into an argument, and he had got us this new dog, and he was leaving me home with the dog. Like, he hustling, and we got a puppy. So she's getting into shit in the middle of the night, and I gotta keep getting up. Like, it's too much shit going on. Like I can't focus. This house is getting shitty and pissy because we got this puppy, and I didn't feel like I was getting help because he was gone. And then at that point, it's like he wasn't even helping with Kamaya no more. He was always let me not say that. He was great with Kamaya. He was great with Kamaya. He was like taking her to school and shit. But then it got to the point where I felt like I don't even want to ask you to do it. Like I can't even ask you to do it because the hustling shit had his life like that. Like it had enrailed him, and I didn't understand it, but like that's what gave him confidence. Like being able to get his phone going, being able to make something out of nothing, he was so proud of the fact that like when he got home from jail, like he wasn't getting no more friends. Like he wasn't having to owe nobody. He wasn't having to be no middleman. Like at that point he felt like he had a good formula. He knew how to make whatever, or he knew how to get whatever he was, whatever. So after Rhythm had passed away, he did the same thing like he did with Zai. He started working a lot. He started throwing his life into work. But this time it was different. It wasn't like, baby, come ride with me. Like, it wasn't like, come be with me, because I wasn't his piece. It was like, you sad all the time. You crying, shit, you mad. You have all these expectations of me. You telling me what I'm doing wrong. And I feel like I was always nagging him. And I should have been nagging myself because I wasn't changing either. I was nagging and I was a bitch and I was sad all the time. And I couldn't get myself out of my depression. I would just talk his ear off about what I was going through, but I wouldn't change it. But I was expecting him to change all the fucking time. Like, I was so hard on him. Like, I wanted him to rap different. Like, I didn't want him to do all this hustle type of music where you talking about drugs and shit. I felt like you rap better than that. And he like, this is what I like type shit. Like, I felt like I wanted his shit to have messages, or I wanted us, like, he used to tell me about his landscaping business. So for his birthday, I bought him business cards. He ended up never getting them shits. He was supposed to do a whole bunch of different ventures, and it was like he could never do that. So when Rhythm had passed away, he ended up being out all night. So I ended up writing this dude on Instagram. I think I like swiped up on his story or something like that. So I ended up writing this dude on Instagram. Again, it's like April. Is it? No, it's like May. It's probably like May. So I ended up writing this dude on Instagram, and we ended up texting. And we ended up texting like all night, from like something in the morning to something in the morning. Probably to like 5 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't too much. It was just a conversation. But I was like calling him King. I'm like, oh, good morning, King. And like, I don't know what the fuck I was saying, but I was saucing it up. I was like putting a little sauce on it. Not saying it like that, because I was obviously still in a relationship. But so Jonathan was out all night or gone or whatever, and we was into it. We was going back and forth. He kept moving his shit out the house and back in the house. And at that point, I'm just like, what the fuck ever. Like, you always think I'm just gonna be at home waiting for you, and I'm not. Like, it's niggas out here that want me. Like, here's one. Like, boom. So I ended up texting the nigga. And then I remember us talking, and he was like, I said something like, you was always quiet when we knew each other as kids. And he was like, no, I wasn't. You was blah, blah, blah. And it got to the point where he was like, well, we should hang out or we should see each other. And I got scared. I'm like, damn, okay, it's getting too deep. Like, I'm low-key really in a relationship, so I can't see him. Like, damn, nigga, why you couldn't just keep it at texting? So as soon as he said, like, I want to talk to you or whatever, or I want to see you, I had to hurry up and blocked him. Blocked him on Instagram, blocked him on everything. And I had another phone that I used to let Kamaya, like, FaceTime and shit on. So I had hurry up and, like, blocked him on everything on that phone, too, and, like, deleted all the messages or whatever. So he ain't never find no messages of what me and dude was talking about or whatever. But at this time, it was, like, I was kind of feeling dude. And not even just feeling dude, like, because that didn't even last long. It only lasted, I think, like, maybe 2 days. But it was just the ideal of, like, dang, like, I really can pull somebody. Like, I really can be in something different. Like, I don't feel satisfied in X, Y, and Z ways. And I start feeling like a bad woman. Like, I'm always nagging him. I'm always being mean to him. I'm not good for him. So at that point, I started telling him, like, you got your own house that he was using to cook at. I'm like, okay, so if you paying rent at this house, you should, if you paying rent at this house, like, you should go live in it. Like, you should live in it. You should have you a bachelor pad. Like, maybe we should live separately. Like, we can still love each other or whatever, but you should move or whatever. So he like, okay. So he had moved out and he was living at his house. And that was that. But it was like we were still talking or whatever. And one day he had came over. And he like, dang, you haven't called. Like, he had came in the house and I ain't say nothing to him. It wasn't that I was mad, or it was at this point I didn't care no more about the relationship or about what he was doing, or I don't go through phones. It was just like, you done did everything you could do to put, like, you done did everything you could do to hurt me. So it was just like, whatever. Like, I'm not finna go through this no more. I just heard in my head, like, I hit him with a frying pan. I did hit him with a frying pan when I was pregnant with Rhythm. We got into a bad fight. I don't really want to talk about that fight, but we got into a bad fight while I was pregnant. And I fucked him up and I hit him with a pan. I'm so sorry about that. He was so mad. He like, you fucked up my face. He had a scar. If y'all seen Jonathan, like a couple months before he passed, he had a scar on his nose. I did that shit and he hated that shit. And I was so mad at myself for that shit. Like, he would not let me lay that down. Like, you see what you did? And I'm just like, damn, like, I'm sorry that I did that shit, but like, nigga, I had to defend myself. But it's just like, damn, bitch, like, yeah. But that's what happened. So, yeah. Yeah. I'm so sorry, Jonathan. I love you so much. I'm sorry. But that's what happened. So I kept feeling like being with him was getting to the point where it was making me feel so bad about myself. Like, damn, I hate myself. I'm such a bad mom. I'm such a bad person. I don't be having time to play with Kamaya because I'm always sad or thinking about this nigga or wondering when he gonna come home or making plans for us and then we don't do it because he not here, or I feel like my baby not seeing two people who love each other in a household. Like, I'm just, showing her something that is toxic. Like, you ain't never home. She constantly asks you, like, where you at? She know you don't got a job, so she be like, where you at? Where you going? You going to your mama's house? And it's like, this shit weird. Like, I don't like it. You're not helping me with the dog. At this point, it's like, what would you have been doing if our baby was here? I remember saying that to him, like, what would you have been doing if our baby was here? You ain't stopped tussling. So, like, what? Our baby was finna be born now, because I was 5 months when Rhythm passed, so a couple more months and our baby would have been here. So that happened. So I remember the day, this was in April. Now he had came home and he just like, dang, you don't care, like, I'm home. And he had came up in the room, he had fake choked me and scared me real bad. And I just remember feeling uneasy, like, I wonder why he did that. So then he left out the room and then he came in the living room, sat down for a minute, and I guess he wanted some attention and he didn't get it. He, like, normally I would be on him, but again, we get to the point where I'm like, shit, fuck this relationship. So he come back in the room again and he like, let me see your phone, because in my living room I don't got like a smart TV, so you gotta use a Chromecast to cast on the TV. You can cast like Hulu or YouTube, whatever like that. So he came and he got my phone, he like unlocked it, so I unlocked it or whatever, and I'm thinking shit, he finna go in there and literally watch a movie or something, like it's late. Kamaya in the bed sleep. Like, I don't got nothing to hide. I ain't been texting nobody. I ain't fucking no nigga. Like, I ain't never cheated. I'm just like, here, click on my phone. But I had saved the nigga number in my phone as a dot, like a little period. And then I had blocked him, and I had deleted all our messages and shit. But my dumb ass, like, he looked in a blocked contact, so he came in the room. I don't know why I just thought I saw somebody. But yeah, came in the room. And he like, who is this? Who is this? And he called the dude, and I was so embarrassed. Like, I looked at the dude, and I looked at Jonathan, and Jonathan threw the phone, and then he grabbed me by my hair, and he pulled me. And he pulled me out the bed, and I had on a black robe and a brown dress, and he pulled me out the bed. He was pulling me by my hair and by my robe, and I just remember as we got right here, and we both looked at Kamaya. He looked up at Kamaya, and I looked up at Kamaya, and we both made sure she was asleep and she was safe. And then he dragged me out. He dragged me all the way from the living room, down the stairs, out the door to his car. And he was like, I'm finna kill you tonight. I'm finna kill you tonight. And I just kept saying, like, please don't take me from my baby. Like, please don't take me from my daughter. Please don't take me from my daughter. Please don't take me from my daughter tonight. Like, Jonathan, please, Jonathan, please, Jonathan, please don't take me from my daughter. So he like, get in the motherfucking car. I'm like, okay, I get in the car. And he like, damn, so you cheating on me, and I really wasn't cheating on you no more. Like, I really been silent. I ain't cheating on you since I've been home from jail. Blah blah blah. Like, blah blah blah. You know, like I've been faithful. Blah blah blah. And yeah. So he like, damn, just to think I've been faithful to your dumb ass. And he like, boom, like pop me in the mouth. And at this point, I'm like, damn, like, cause he's still driving. So I'm like, I gotta get out this car. So I end up, like, in my head, I'm thinking, like, don't fight back, because if I fight back, he gonna think I'm trying to hold him, and then he gonna hit me harder. So right now, he not hitting me that hard. Like, I can take this shit. Like, just play innocent. Like, play innocent. Like, play like this shit. Like, I'm like, honey, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have did that. Like, we only talked for 2 days. Like, I'll tell you the whole conversation. I'll get my iMac. I'll charge it up. I'll pull up the conversations if I can find it. Like, baby, whatever you need. So I'm playing, like, I'm submitting to him. Like, look, like, you know, whatever you need, because shit, I'm at his mercy right now. Like, he's stronger than me, and we in a car. And we away from the house, and I'm like, damn, my door unlocked. But if Kamaya wake up, I'm just trying to get back home to my baby. So I'm like, damn, this shit fucked up. I'm thinking in my head, like, what the fuck can I do? And I'm like, open the door. So, bitch, I open that motherfucking door, and he get out his motherfucking car, and he try to come to my end. He try to come to my door and, like, fight me. And when he got out the motherfucking car, bitch, I took the fuck off. Like, I took off from his car door, because as he got out, I had got caught in my robe, because I had a robe on and a dress on with no panties, because I'm laying in my bed, and the robe had got caught in the car door because he was trying to, like, slam it open, and I was trying to get out. So I had got out, and I had jimmied my way out of the robe, and I'm just in this dress, and I'm running for my life. I'm barefoot because he dragged me out the bed. Of course, you ain't gonna have no socks or shoes on in your bed. So he dragged me out the bed, and I jump out the car, and I'm just running down the street, and I run to this white man, and I'm like, I just got robbed. Like, can I please get your jacket? He walked me back to his house. He like, wait right here, I'm gonna call you a lift. I felt like he wasn't really helping me. I'm like, if you won't give me your jacket, you ain't really selfless, because you see I'm out here damn near naked, my ass out. I could get raped or anything. I need something to cover up, and you ain't give me that shit. So I just got to walk, and I just got to run. I'm like, damn, I don't want him to find me. So then I get lost. Even though we right kind of by the house, I get lost because I'm new to the east side. I don't really know where I'm at like that. So I'm like, damn, all these one-way ass streets, I don't know where the fuck I'm at. So I end up seeing this Boss van, like UW1 Boss van. I stopped it. I'm like, and it's crazy because it was God. I promise you it was God, because they had pulled up to a house and they was waiting on a girl to come out, and she never came out. And I saw him waiting. I'm like, damn, like, I wonder if he waiting on somebody. I'm like, fuck it. I'm like, damn, he could possibly rape me, or, you know, they could kidnap me. But I'm like, I don't got no other motherfucking choice. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. I waved him down. I'm like, hey, I just got robbed. This nigga was trying to rape me. Can y'all please take me to my house? He like, yeah. So he take me to my house. I get up in my house, the door unlocks. I come to the bottom of the stairs, and Jonathan like standing over it, and I'm like, baby, please, just let me talk to you. So then he like, all right, cool. He let me up in the house, and he like, yeah, so tell me everything, blah blah blah. And as soon as I got to talking, he like, nah, I don't want to hear that. So we end up in the kitchen, And at this point, I'm tired of him putting his hands on me. So I'm like, I told him, like, nigga, you put your hands on me one more time, we're gonna have to take it there. Cause I'm tired of you putting your hands on me. So he backed up, and then he got sad. He like, damn, I can't believe you really did this shit to me, Caprice. I can't believe you really fucked on a nigga. I can't believe you really talked to this nigga. And I'm like, damn, man, it wasn't even like that. It wasn't even like that, baby. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I did that to you. I'm sorry I did that to you. That shit was fucked up. I shouldn't have did that, cause I shouldn't have. But I'm like, yeah, baby, I shouldn't have did that. So after that, it's like I feel Kamaya in her room. It's like I'm feeling him over here. It's like, oh no, it's crazy right now because I shouldn't be smiling and shit not funny. But I felt free. I low-key feel like the nigga that I had started talking to had freed me that day. Because shit was never the same after that. But so yeah, we end up in the living room and we fighting again. He ended up smacking me and I smacked his ass back. I'm like, nigga, I told you, you're not finna keep putting your hands on me. And I stood up and I squared up with him. And then he kissed me. He got to kissing me real hard and shit. And he was acting like he wanted to have sex with me, but he know I've been raped before and he know I've been molested before. So he was like, man, like, damn, like I really can't believe you did that to me. And he got off me. He like, I really can't believe you did that to me, because my body kind of seized up. Like I was scared that he was gonna rape me. So, and again, my baby in the room. So, and my baby always wake up. She do not wake up all night. So, grace of God again. So, yeah. So I don't even remember what happened after that. I remember playing in coy, being like, look, like, I'm finna really have to fight this thing because you're not finna keep putting your hands on me. So I'm like, all right, I've been submitting to you for a while now, but I'm finna buck up with you. Like, what's up? And then he was like, he calmed down, and we both kind of calmed down. We both laid on the couch, and I kept kissing on him. I'm like, baby, can you just please forgive me? Like, I'm sorry I did that shit to you. I kept rubbing on him and touching him, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I kept kissing him. He was like, man, this don't even feel the same. He was like, you just feel like you've been around a nigga. You don't even feel the same. I'm like, baby, I was not. Like, I was not around no nigga. I was not, like, you know, I did what I did, but that was it. And I feel like at that moment he probably didn't see me the same either, or he was probably, because I ain't give him no inkling that I was cheating or nothing. So I feel like he probably was just looking for an out, but didn't know how to tell me, like, damn, I don't want to be with you no more, or some shit like that. I don't know. But after that shit happened, he was pretty much like, I gotta leave you. Like, I put bruises on your body. Like, I really hurt you. And I had went to my mama's house, and he pulled up, and I was sad. I was like, damn, so you really gonna be done with me? And he was like, yeah, because I felt like I hurt you too bad. I never wanted to be this man. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm sad. So I was like, damn, that's crazy. You always leave me when I need you. You gonna be my ass and then break up with me. And then he was like, it's not even like that. And then I told him, like, leave. He left my mama's house, and then he got to texting me, like, can I take you and Kamaya to a hotel? Can we just go chill? Like, I just want y'all to swim and have a good time. And I remember thinking, like, that's what you think gonna fix this shit? Like, taking me to a hotel? Like, so I didn't reply that night. And then I had took my key back when we had got into it. I don't remember. I had already taken my key back, so I was just letting him in the house. So this fight was like, it had solidified, like, okay, we done. So he was, like I said, he had already been living at his own crib. He already didn't have a key to my house. So it was like, at this point, he started breaking in the house. I don't remember. I think we kept getting into it. We was trying to get back together, but it was like he kept doing the wrong shit. I kept asking him to come do shit around the house. He wasn't. It was like he was coming over, but he wanted to smoke, or he wanted to chill, or he wanted to talk, or be on me. And it was like, nigga, I'm asking you to show me that you want to change, or show me that you're going to get a job. At this point, I gave him an ultimatum. Like, you really got to get a job. I don't want to deal with hustling no more. I don't want to deal with X, Y, and Z. So you really, really, really got to get a job. Like, you got to get a job. You got to prove to me that you're going to change for me, that you want me. And he said he had got a construction job or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to let you come over. We're going to do the business cards. We're going to buy all this shit. So he come over, and before he ended up doing what he was supposed to do, he like, well, I'm going to run, go get some food and come back. So he went to go get some food. Mind you, it was some chicken tacos or some shit that I used to eat while I was pregnant. And I'm like, I don't eat meat no more. But, you know, I take a bite, whatever, it's whatever. Like, I just act like I like it. And he was like, baby, you don't got to eat. I don't know why I forgot again, because you're not paying attention. You don't care, but whatever. But that was that. So then it got to the point where we was on the phone, and I'm just like, I really want you to be happy, and I feel like I've been holding you back. I feel like you need to hustle. Like, you want to hustle. And I feel like if I wasn't always calling you home, maybe you would be out later. Maybe you would have more money. Maybe you would feel better about yourself. Maybe you'll feel better about how you look. Maybe you'll feel better about your sex. Maybe you'll feel better about yourself as a man if you didn't have somebody sitting here nagging you 24/7. Like, I'm not good for you. And he was like, yeah, you right. So after he said, yeah, you right, we was cool or whatever. I can't remember. And then one day he ended up breaking into the house or whatever. I ended up calling the police because I'm like, damn, like, you already beat my ass and now you broke into the house. Like, my trust, which was like kind of gone. He was like, I just broke in because I want my key, because I had a key to his house or whatever. I wasn't finna ever use it. Like, I didn't want to ever go over there and catch him with no female. Not saying that that's what was going on, but in my mind, that's what I thought. I'm like, shit, then I'm gonna really be broken. Like, I don't want to, you know. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna do that shit. Like, so I gave him his keys and I'm like, you gotta go, whatever. Somehow, like a week later, we ended up getting back cool. So now we in May. So that was all of April. We was back and forth, kind of getting back cool. I was kind of letting him back in the house. We was kind of spending nights together, but we wasn't fucking. It was just a lot going on. So then come May, mind you, he got into the accident on the 19th. So May, we ended like 2 days before he passed away. So he passed away on a Tuesday. He didn't pass away, but it happened on a Tuesday. And that Sunday we had ended up doing shrooms together. And we had did shrooms twice within that month. The first time we ended up watching this movie called This Is the End, which is crazy now looking back. But he had a bad trip, which made me have a bad trip. I felt like, I kept telling him, like, I feel like your big sister, or I feel like I'm having to walk you through this, or I'm always having to kind of take care of you through life. And he ended up falling asleep on me. So he was like, baby, I found you something again. I want you to have a better trip this time because I feel like I ruined yours last time. So this second time, I had a good ass trip, but I was so in my head, I'm like, I felt like I wasn't paying attention to him. Like, he kept trying to talk about deep ass shit, and I felt like I wasn't paying attention to him because at this point I'm detached from the relationship. So he's calling me, he's popping up to the house, like playing music on the like connecting it to the Chromecast, connecting to the Wi-Fi, and then connect to the Chromecast, and like playing like This Is My Sorry For 2004. But yeah, so he was just doing little shit like that, and it was making me feel uneasy. And then on Mother's Day, he had brought me like all this stuff. He had took my mama some stuff, my granny some stuff, and he had surprised me with some stuff. And I was tired of him breaking in and shit. He knew I was mad, so he just left the shit out on the porch. I was super happy. I'm like, okay, this is my man. I'm finna let him back in the house. So after we had took the shrooms and had that good ass day, I had let him spend a night or whatever. And the next day, I wanted him to take him out of school. I wanted him to get up and take the dog out or whatever. Take the dog out, do what you got. I told him, it was like an ultimatum kind of. I told him, like, you need to be in a routine. If you're not going to be hustling no more and you don't want to get a job, but you want to be at our house, you want to be here, you need to wake up every day at 6 o'clock in the morning and go meditate, go walk our dog, because all the responsibility shouldn't be on me if you bought this dog. So go walk the dog, do what you need to do. And he couldn't do that shit. So that day we ended up getting into it. The day that he got into the accident, we ended up getting into it. And I ended up snapping on him real bad. And he left. Like, I didn't tell him to leave. I remember thinking in my head, like, I'm not going to kick him out. I'm not going to kick him out. Like, I want him to come home tonight. So I'm not going to kick him out. Like, because kicking him out so often, I forgot to mention that I used to kick him out a lot when we moved on the other house. So he always felt like, shit, this ain't my house. If you can kick me out, it ain't my house. And that made him feel small as my man. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna kick him out. I'm not gonna kick him out. And so I remember him leaving and my feelings kind of being hurt. Like, damn, I wouldn't even go kick you out. But he ended up leaving. And then I remember that night, I wanted him to come back over. I'm like, we're gonna try again tomorrow. And I called him. And I'm like, where you at? And he was out. It was like 12 o'clock. I'm like, why the fuck are you still out? Like, what the fuck? Like, why the fuck are you still out? You said you're not hustling, so why are you out? He's like, oh, I had to go take nice guys so-and-so to Walmart, blah, 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 blah. So we end up getting off the phone. He like, call me when you get off live. So I call him back. He not answering. He ended up texting me at like 12 something. It was like, damn, baby. And that was the last thing Jonathan ever texted me, ever said to me. Any of that. And then, yeah. And then when we was up in the hospital, this woman had came, and I'm asking everybody, like, how, like, you know, like, how you know Jonathan or whatever. Like, how you know he was up in here? She was like, oh, I just knew. So in my mind, I'm like, if you just knew, like, you came to find him, like, she went to his mama's house and she went to search at all these different hospitals or whatever to find him. I'm like, if you did all of that, like, was you fucking my man? And then I didn't even wait for no response. I'm just like, you know what, this ain't for me. Like, I'm just gonna block you. And I left. And then the whole rest of the time, it was like, I was there with him, but it was like, damn, like, I'm low-key mad at you. Like, I can't believe you was cheating on me even, like, before you passed. Like, this shit's so sad. So it's like, I know a lot of people looking at me like, damn, you getting over him fast, or you, I don't know, because maybe that's me judging myself. But I feel like I've been through so much, we've been through so much, we have been through so much, that how shit happened, it just had to happen. I feel like God really saved me and God really protected me, because where Jonathan was going, I feel like it was a downward spiral. I feel like jail that last time really fucked him up. I feel like because of COVID, a lot of people with mental health issues were in jail, and it was overpopulated, and it took a toll on his mental health. And then coming home and losing another baby after already losing two, he had to bury a dog. One of his cousins committed suicide. So it was just like, so much was weighing on him, so much was happening, that I feel like he didn't really feel like he had anybody. And when you got two lonely people, I didn't have any friends, you know, and he didn't have any friends. He had people that he hustled with and stuff, but he would come home and tell me like he felt lonely. He felt like I was his person. So it's like you had two lonely people who were kind of clinging on to each other. And, you know, I feel like Jonathan was my teacher. Like, I feel like he taught me so much, and I feel like he granted me with so much. And I feel like I owe a lot to him. Like, I really, really do. But that was our love story. It was very, very long. I should have broke it up and did a part 1 and part 2, but I didn't. Yeah. I love Jonathan. I hope this story was not offensive to anyone listening, because it was only my version of the story. Jonathan has his own version, which I'm sure, like, he got a whole bunch of shit to talk about me. But I just wanted to be honest, and I wanted to be transparent, and I wanted to heal in a way that really shed light on our situation and what our truth was, without demeaning myself, without putting myself down or making myself feel like I don't have the right to feel how I feel, because I do. So, yeah. I'm healing, and I'm still craving him and thinking about him. But it really taught me that maybe I didn't love myself while in that relationship. And maybe I loved him more than I loved myself. And I loved him hard, and he loves me hard. And even though we were broken people and we were hurting each other, that doesn't diminish our love. Even though we were putting our hands on each other, or that's what we thought love was at the time. And now I know better, and I know different. And I have Jonathan to thank for that. So, long live the king. Long live Jonathan Elijah Jasper. Born 11/23/95 and deceased May 25th. 2022. 2:53 p.m. But yeah, that happened. So I don't know if y'all ever have been a hustler's girlfriend, but if you have, leave your experiences down below. If you guys have dealt with any similar circumstances, any abuse, any physical abuse, any mental abuse, emotional abuse, because that's what I feel like I did to him. Emotional abuse, mental manipulation, stuff like that. But if you guys have been through any of that and you guys are willing to share your story or your testimonies, definitely leave them down below to help another woman just like you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, share this video on all your social medias, and I am out of here, y'all.